YAHUAH'S breath. Part 3. Watch for their fruit or the opposite, which is the work of the flesh. Galatians 5, starting at 19. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred, quarrels, jealousies, fits of rage, selfish ambitions, dissensions, factions, envy, murders, drunkenness, wild parties, and the like, of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of Yahuwah. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no Torah. Galatians 5, 19 through 23. Sometimes the work of the flesh is hidden more in these types. It will surface at times when you're not expecting it. But as I said before in the other recordings, just pay attention to the eyes, to the mannerisms, to the way they speak, to the way they speak about themselves as well. And there are many signs that you can pick up on. It's physical things, like sometimes there will be a limp that will start, and it just all of a sudden starts. You have to pay attention to these things and watch. Sometimes they mouth words and stuff is not coming out. You won't hear anything, but you'll see the jaw moving. I've seen this in person. I've also seen the limp with that same person I spoke of in the second video. It's also a persona of like larger than life. And they're just this everyday person. It's theatrical. It is an act that they are doing in front of you. And it's like it's hard to describe, but once you start paying attention, you'll see this kind of thing. And it's mind-blowing how others don't see it. But just start paying attention and you will see it. I had one time, the one with the spirit guide. And she would walk in like she owned the room. And it was theatrical. It was all like as if she was on stage. And she would move her head in a certain way and then come down. And that was when she would start the acting. It was all acting. It was all like the moment of being on a stage. And the movements just, I don't know, it was just different. You would know what I'm talking about when you start to watch people and pay attention to their mannerisms and everything. And she came in and I had been upset over something and she said, "Oh, the cavalry is on its way for you and I'm here." And I didn't ask her for any of it. I didn't do anything. And then she sat down, did a funny kind of movement with her head, put her arms on the couch like making herself bigger than life, and then proceeded to ask questions about and this wasn't just concern, is a difference in the way that when people are naturally concerned. This was more of a manipulation to bring power to herself. And so it was a funny kind of a person. I've never seen anybody quite like her. But she fooled the pastor. She fooled a lot of people. But there was one other person that saw it besides me. But she would just keep enough, like, changing from what she had been studying was Buddhism, and changing over and wanting to get immersed and being prayed for in the Baptist. But they did not catch on to it. Her different things. They thought she walked with confidence. Well, the confidence was the arrogance of that spirit that was within her, the demon, around her, in her, or whatever. So sometimes it's tragedy that causes people to be like this. Sometimes it's that they're born with it. I have seen pictures where I've seen a demon's head next to the fetus, next to the baby. Twice I've seen it. Once was on the internet, and once was with a girl that I worked with before. And I had never seen that before. But also I've seen a lamb in there, where it was the lamb of YAHUSHA, representing himself in there. Now that one was somebody that was a friend on Facebook, and I saw it, and I messaged them, and I said, do you see the lamb in that ultrasound? And he looked, and he refocused his eyes, and he said, yes, I do. And so he was so thrilled to see it in there. So there's good and bad all the time. And, but that child, that baby that was not even out, was already being protected and already was special, because I don't know what causes it, but that child, that baby, that newly formed being was already with YAHUSHA and didn't have to choose when she got out. And it was a little girl. And so I thought it was such a beautiful thing. We are to do spiritual warfare by prayer and supplication and watching and supplication. Prayer and scripture are your weapons of war. Now, getting back to these demons, they will come in and they'll say words, and it's like it's tapping into your being, and that's where it starts to take away your energy. And sometimes it's just you realize, but you're not sure something is going on, because you feel a presence, but that presence does not give you a happy feeling. But like in the situation that I was in, I was doing work at the mission, and we had jobs that we had to do, and I was kind of stuck in the position that I was in, meaning I could not just get up and leave. I had to, he was my customer, that was coming in, basically. And so you have to deal with what you have to deal with. But I did warfare, and I, did as much cleansing with prayer and supplication afterwards, and then it was fine. But the situation did not change till after they left. And then was when I realized it was that person that had done it. These type of people are not merely negative. They are more like an energy vampire that I've spoken of before. Now, this person, I believe, was also a drug dealer, but he just was kind of larger than life as well as like the girl, but more subtle with it. Came off like he could be part of the what's going on, the awakening. But they're a siphon into your spirit. Unless you are, and I say this again because during that time was when I was saying the name of JC and the titles G and L. And I had fallen at that part. But the Father pulled me out of it. And now I am different because the Father has made me different. They feed off of your emotions, these people. And when they're streetwise like that, it's even more so. Both of these people were homeless people. One was male, one was female. And they both have it to where they feed off of the emotions. There was another one that called herself a pet prophet. And she would give these stories and it was as though she was real, but she said that she had come from darkness and then she was saved, but she was being manipulated as well. She did not like it when I stopped using the G, the L, and the JC, and in fact told me that I wouldn't leave there till I had come into believing in those creatures. And I say creatures because they're different than the Father Yahuwah, and they are different than Yahusha. And they're not of the Ruach HaKodesh at all. They will try to stop you from speaking about it. She tried to. She sat there and she tried to belittle me in front of people. And I just looked at her and said, I'm not going where you're going. And it didn't faze me what she was talking about. And she was just one of these people that was over there. And she said that that she knew the names of Yahuwah and Yahusha. And I said, well, why don't you use them? And she said, because I got saved in the name of JC. Well, there is no saving in the name of JC, because JC is a character. He wasn't real. He was something made up, and it's a pagan name. And paganism comes from Satan. The God is a Norse deity. The Lord is Baal or Bel, which is all of these are forms of Satan. Make no mistake, these people never give. They actually always take, under the guise of that, like she was a pet prophet, under the guise of her spirit, the other person's spirit guide, and the other one, just because I don't know what he was or what he claimed to be, but just the fact that he was a drug dealer and considered himself into a high-ranking family and all that, and did the drugs and selling them. They take from you. They don't give to you. And so they fear what they feel out of you, and they want it gone. If you keep up with being in their company, you'll find yourself avoiding joy and passion and prayer because you're too tired to care anymore. Sign 2, they twist the truth. And I can tell you from experience, I was talking to somebody on the phone, a family member, and this was when I was homeless, and this was when I was also new onto the path. And their words were, when they spoke to me, that come home to the people that you love. He didn't say the people that love you. My brain, he thought, would hear that part, but I heard his exact words. I even called him on it later. I didn't call him on it at the time, but I knew that he was trying to manipulate me. Photos capture changes in a person, and sometimes they will show it to a camera. I don't think that they realize that they are, or maybe if they do, whatever. But that particular person, when a photo was taken of him, his whole face, the shape of it changed to where it was more boxy. It was green. He looked kind of like a hulky lurch. His hand was a claw. And then later on, I could see the green manifest in other pictures. And it was always when he was happy. So the demon was happy with what was happening. You just have to pay attention and rebuke it. As the Father's showing you for some reason things to get away, things to rebuke, and what that person actually is, doesn't mean that he does not have the power to make them come out of, or to get them to come out of their stupor. Because the Father Yahuwah is all-knowing, everything. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, and there is nothing that he can't do. He can do everything. When they twist that truth, they try to make it so you don't trust your mind. And what's in your mind? Your mind is where you hear the voice of the Father. It's not words, it's an unction. So there was somebody else that tried to stop me from doing, and I've had this several times throughout the years, tried to stop me from doing what the Father had led me to do. So they like to control what you do. That's when you don't give them control. I told this person point blank, that I said, you don't understand my path. You don't understand who I am and what I do. I'm with the Father Yahuwah, and I do what he says. One of the oldest tactics of Satan and his minions are deception. They make it seem like it's from the Father Yahuwah, but it's not. They don't just lie, they twist your reality. They make it seem like you are the problem when it's them all along. They tell you something cruel, and when you come back at them and ask them why they say that, they say that I never said that. Or they'll say, like, it's you. It's always you. It's you that does these things. They're not anything. They're the innocent party. They hurt you or they make you cry, and they don't remember that they did anything like that. They say that you were the one that's always doing it. That's how it always is. This is the ultimate gaslight. They make you seem like you are always wrong, to control your perception and make you unsure of yourself. And again, I say, the Father Yahuwah will let things happen, Satan has to ask about it every time he does something to us. And the Father will let it happen because it makes us stronger. He wants us stronger because we have to deal with all these things. We have to deal with it coming at us in all these ways. And some of the people that are on the path don't understand, and they get upset with us when we try to explain it. But it's there. It's reality. It is what is coming and attacking you, and it is straight out warfare. The only thing for warfare is prayer. You have to put on your garments of salvation every day, which is reading scripture, and it's also in Ephesians 6. And the Father Yahuwah's prayers that you are doing, as long as you're choosing him, he will listen and he will take care of it, but not any other way.